the Chi-Town experience on the flight. Let me go tune in to Keek on the mic. He gon' make sure we get our news and highlights. When you get on YouTube, you better hit the like.
Bears fans, I am at a loss of words at this point. And I'm not even going to do an intro today because it's getting to the point where us Bears fans, right? We don't deserve this mess that we call the Chicago Bears. It's getting to the point where they are just flat out terrible. Just terrible. The final score of today's game, 6-3, losing to the Seattle Seahawks, losing your 10th straight game. You're now sitting at 4-12. You're going to lose to the Packers next week at Lambeau Field to finish off the season, sitting at 4-13. It's just miserable, man. Caleb Williams sacked another 7 times tonight. When he actually throws a touchdown pass, it's called back for a holding on the offensive line. The defense played really well tonight. Really, really well tonight for the first time in a long time. But the offense just was stuck in the mud all night long. Caleb was pressured all night long. 16 for 28, 120-something yards, 0 touchdowns due to interception to end the game. It's just pitiful. Shout out to the fans after that game chanting "sell the team." Because I think at this point, the only way the Chicago Bears can break this curse is if the McCaskey families just sell the team. Just sell the team. What good have you done for the Chicago Bears organization? You have made every single one of us miserable. Miserable. Thanks to you guys. Like, can Roger Goodell, can the National Football League force them to sell the team? It's a shame to see the Chicago Bears this bad for so long. The last time the Bears were good was 2018. 2018. It's like you think that they can't figure out ways to lose in miserable fashion, but once again, they figure out a way tonight. You scored 3 points, and the defense kept giving you opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. And even at the end there, just the clock management by Thomas Brown, terrible. I had high hopes for Thomas Brown too, but he just made it clear as day that he is not ready to be a head coach in the National Football League. It's just pitiful, Bears fans. I'm really just at a loss of words with this team. The Chicago Bears suck big time. And this is probably one of the worst teams I have seen in a very, very long time. I still have all the faith in the world in Caleb Williams. Today wasn't one of his best performances, but at the same time, when you're sacked 7 times, it's hard to do much of anything. The running game barely got going. It just seems like there was no rhythm, no identity. There's no rhythm or identity with this Bears team in general. The Bears need a massive overhaul of some talent at some key positions. They need an overhaul in their coaching staff. And to be quite honest with you, Bears fans, they need an overhaul from top to bottom. I'm talking about management down. The McCaskies are terrible. I know that Ryan Poles has done some good things, but Caleb Williams has been sacked 60-something times. I think the correct number is like 67 times. And that is thanks to Ryan Poles. Rather Ryan Poles is the GM or not, you have to invest heavily in this offensive line. The Chicago Bears have the cheapest offensive line in the National Football League. They have spent $23 million on this offensive line. And just like the old saying says, you get what you pay for. The Chicago Bears, Ryan Poles tried to patchwork this offensive line. And now Ryan Poles, the Chicago Bears offense, and Caleb Williams is paying for that. I have been a big advocate for Ryan Poles. I have shown him a lot of support, but it's time to start being really critical on Ryan Poles. I think he could deserve one more opportunity, but after seeing this performance tonight, 7 sacks, Caleb Williams being sacked 67 times, that's on Ryan Poles. I know he's dealt with some injuries, right, on the offensive line. Like, the offensive line has barely been healthy, but even when they are healthy, it's still not a very good unit. This team is bad, man. I truly feel for Chicago Bears fans that continue to put up with this. I understand that I always say that, hey, we're just fans. Let it go. But it's like, damn, like every single week, it seems like they are unprepared. Like this is rock bottom for this organization. And it seems to me that the only way they can get out of being a mediocre organization is the McCaskies just letting them go and selling the franchise. It's come to the point where Bears fans have brown bags over their heads. I don't think I've ever seen in my lifetime, and I'm 27 years old, so obviously I'm still very much a young man, but in my lifetime, I have never seen a Chicago Bears team this bad. Like enough is enough at this point. 6-3? You scored 3 points? I'm at a loss of words, Bears fans. Like I said, they need a full overhaul of a lot of different things. The Chicago Bears have a whole lot of work to do. I'm not sure if Ryan Poles is going to make it. I really don't. I really don't know what's going to happen to Ryan Poles. Rather they keep him, rather they don't. I don't know what's going to happen. All I know is that this Chicago Bears team seems like they were close to begin this season, but I'm not even sure if they're close. I think we have the quarterback right. Yeah, I think Caleb Williams is going to be fine. But if they don't invest in the offensive line and everything around them, or they don't get this coaching hire right, Caleb Williams is going to be in the same situation as Justin Fields, as Mitch Trubisky, and all the quarterbacks before him. And I truly hate to see it because I think Caleb Williams is an outstanding talent. I think he's done a lot of good things. Of course, there's some things that he needs to clean up on. But Caleb Williams is not going to survive in this mediocre organization if you don't build the offensive line, if you don't get the coaching hire right. Here's some good news, Bears fans. And I understand there's not a lot of good news coming out of Chicago, but SearSTower, and we've all talked about this X account on social media. This X account has been very accurate on some news and reports coming out of Hallis Hall. He has some connections with the Chicago Bears, and they have been pretty much correct on all their, reports and their rumors to come out about the Chicago Bears. And this is what they had to say. They said, I pity Bears fans, but here's some good news. I'm hearing that Ben is their main priority and have already started to prepare a lengthy presentation and pitch for him. I understand a lot of people are high on Pete Carroll, and rightfully so. Look at the resume. Super Bowl champion, could have very well been a back-to-back Super Bowl champion. The resume is legit. He can change the culture. I think for somewhat, he would be pretty good for Caleb Williams. But at the end of the day, Pete Carroll is 73 years old. Do we really think he is a long-term solution? I still think they should speak to him, which Albert Breer, prior to this game tonight against the Seahawks, did confirm that the Chicago Bears will hear Pete Carroll out, which I feel like, I guess that is fine. Let's see what his plan would be for Caleb Williams. I'm not saying you hire the guy, but I still think you can hear him out. That is totally fine. I think he would establish a good culture. He's not on the top of my list by no means, but I think it's fair to just hear him out to see what his vision would be for the Chicago Bears. But I do not want the Chicago Bears to hire Pete Carroll. That's just my personal opinion. Of course, you have Mike Vrabel, another leader of men type of guy, a guy that, has some experience. Obviously, his resume is not as good as Pete Carroll's, but maybe you can hear him out. And then, of course, you have Joe Brady or Cliff Kingsbury if you want an offensive guy. I know Jalen Johnson talked to the Thursday Night Football crew and said, hey, I think the Bears need a offensive-minded head coach like Cliff, Joe Brady, or Ben Johnson to pair with Caleb Williams, because that's what we need at this moment. We need to make sure Caleb Williams is in the best situation as possible, and Jalen Johnson believes that is an offensive-minded head coach. But once again, hearing stuff like this, and this is a X account that I really trust that gets very accurate information outside of Hallis Hall, I'm hearing that Ben is their main priority. Ben Johnson, Lions offensive coordinator, is the Chicago Bears' main priority. And why wouldn't it be? You just scored 3 points tonight on Thursday Night Football, on primetime football. Embarrassing. You have a young quarterback that you feel like that is your franchise quarterback in Caleb Williams. You've seen enough flashes to understand that if we can finally build the offensive line and land a offensive-minded head coach And a lot of people including myself, view Ben Johnson as the golden ticket on this year's head coaching market. He happens to be offensive-minded head coach. We've already talked about what he's been able to do with Jared Goff and the Lions offense over the last couple of years. I think this is a match made in heaven. I know a lot of you guys feel indifferent about Ben Johnson, and that is totally okay. That is your personal opinion. But I absolutely love hearing this news that the Chicago Bears are going to be making Ben Johnson their main priority and have already started to prepare a lengthy presentation and pitch for him. And I hope that's the case. The only thing you need to tell Ben Johnson is, hey, here's a blank check. How much do you want to become the next head coach of the Chicago Bears? To me, it's that simple. And tonight proves that we need a guy like Ben Johnson. If you really care about Caleb Williams moving forward, you need Ben Johnson. You need Ben Johnson to come here and turn Caleb Williams or groom Caleb Williams into that generational talent that we all know that he can be. Caleb Williams has the talent. Now he needs a good head coach, an offensive-minded head coach that will put him in nothing but good situations, and that is Ben Johnson. Invest in the offensive line. If Trey Smith makes it to free agency, sign Trey Smith. If Drew Dalman, the center from the Atlanta Falcons, makes free agency, you sign him. You double down in the NFL draft and invest in the trenches. That's why the Chicago Bears are not taking any steps forward, because they're doing everything backwards. They're not investing enough in the trenches. Don't get me wrong. I love Kyler Gordon. I love Jaquan Brisker. I love all the players on the Chicago Bears. But when push comes to shove, the Chicago Bears continue to lose in the trenches. Get Ben Johnson. He will take care of Caleb Williams in the offense and the entirety of the Chicago Bears organization. I think he can be a good leader. I understand that we haven't seen it, but how the Detroit Lions players, how coaches around the NFL talk about Ben Johnson, they have high remarks on Ben Johnson. I think he can do the job. I think he will transform Caleb Williams and take him to the next level. But Ryan Poles, or whoever the GM is of the Chicago Bears, needs to invest heavy in the offensive line. The offensive line as a whole needs to be more than $23 million. $23 million is very cheap for an entirety of a unit. That's you being cheap, Ryan Poles. Go invest in Trey Smith. Go invest in Drew Dalman. Go get Will Campbell or Kelvin Banks in the NFL draft. Get Donovan Jackson, the guard out of Ohio State. Continue to invest in the offensive line. Land the right coach. And you know why? It's because all we need to see is Caleb Williams become the first franchise quarterback of the Chicago Bears. We know he has the talent, but if you do not invest the offensive line, if you do not hire the right coach, Caleb Williams will be just like Justin Fields. Caleb Williams will be just like Mitch Trubisky. He will be the next Chicago Bears bust, not because of his doing, but the dysfunctional system that we call the Chicago Bears. They always mess things up. But the Chicago Bears organization cannot mess this up this time. They cannot mess this up this time. This, and I know we say this every year, this is one of the most crucial off seasons that the Chicago Bears will ever have. Because you finally, for the first time ever, looks like you got the quarterback pick right. But now everything around him has to come together. And Bears fans, this is an oath to you guys right now. I'm going to continue bringing you very positive energy here on the platform. But I am not going to give you guys false hope anymore. I'll be happy if they sign Trey Smith or Drew Dalman or draft Will Campbell or Kelvin Banks from Texas. But until I see it in August, until I see it in September in a real game, I will not get you false hope. I'll say that is a good start. That will be a very good pickup, but I will not give you guys false hope anymore. Because enough is enough. The Chicago Bears will suck until they prove otherwise. They will be the laughingstock of the NFL until they prove otherwise. Enough is enough. It really is. This loss was bad. Obviously, I'm happy to hear that the Bears are going to make Ben Johnson their main priority. Give him a blank check. Hear him out. Tell him how you plan to try to fix the mistakes of trying to build the offensive line, how you're going to build the team around Caleb Williams. Hear his vision for Caleb Williams, and then don't let him leave the city of Chicago. If you let him leave the city of Chicago, to me, and this is my personal opinion, you don't have to agree with me, but if you let him leave the city of Chicago, you do not care about Caleb Williams. You do not care about this organization. You don't care about winning. I know there's concerns about I've never been a head coach. We don't know if he can be a good leader. But guess what, Bears fans? If you hire Ben Johnson and you miss, no one will care because everyone is telling you to hire Ben Johnson. Everyone around the National Football League is telling you, hire Ben Johnson. You keep hearing these reports from Albert Breer, Ian Rappaport, Tom Pelissero saying Ben Johnson's interested in the Bears. The Bears are interested in Ben Johnson. At this point, meet with the guy, hear his vision, tell him how you're going to fix the organization, and get the deal done. It's the only thing. Get Ben Johnson, build the trenches, move on, and try to get this team back to being relevant in the National Football League. Because right now, we are the laughingstock. And at this point, enough is enough. Bears fans, go ahead and vent with me down below in the comment section. Whether you agree with what I had to say on today's episode of Kick on the Mic or not, it really doesn't matter. Go ahead and drop your opinion down below in the comment section. How you feeling about the overall landscape of the Chicago Bears right now? How do you feel about the report coming out saying the Bears are going to make Ben Johnson their main priority, and they already started preparing their spill and pitch to try to land Ben Johnson? Just let me know everything, how you're feeling right now, down below in the comment section. But as always, Bears fans, make sure you guys go ahead and continue to hit that subscribe button and the notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. Make sure you follow me on all my social media platforms, and make sure you share this episode of Kick on the Mic with every single Bears that you know. Better than that, be back for an all-new Bears podcast right here on Kick on the Mic. Thanks, guys, and as always, bear down.
You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't kick on the mic. You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't kick on the mic. You can go and subscribe, cause I be on it right. You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't kick on the mic.